the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. A Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers in Chicago on the second night of a back-to-back to face the Bulls. 5 o'clock tip on KUNP. That's Xfinity Channel 302 or 2.2 on your antenna. DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Robert Williams III are out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Tumani Kamara, Duop Reith, Anthony Simons are all questionable. The Blazers are 6-point dogs. The NBA has fined Grizzly star Ja Morant $75,000 after doing the finger guns for the second time this week. First Tuesday against the Warriors, after which he was given a warning by the league, and then again last night versus the Heat. Over on the Diamond, the Mariners start a weekend trip to San Francisco this afternoon against the Giants. Luis F. Castillo starting for Seattle. Justin Verlander for San Francisco. That's a 1:35 first pitch on Root Sports. Round 2 of the Valero Texas Open from TPC San Antonio. Brian Harman is 2 under on the day through 3. That puts him in a tie for the lead at 8 under par alongside Kashmir Keith Mitchell, who is just now starting his second round. They are 1 stroke clear of Sam Ryder and Matt Wallace, at 7 under par. Meanwhile, Keegan Bradley, Jordan Spieth, Maverick McNeely, Tom Hoagie among the folks tied for 12th place at 4 under par. Tony Finau tied for 25th at 3 under. And on the ice, up 3-1, the Winterhawks with a chance to clinch the series against Prince George tonight at the VMC. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. For sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny Meringue pie?
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey, welcome in. Happy Friday. Danny and Dusty with you. It's crack-a-lackin', everybody.
Sweet, sweet Friday.
It is great. It is great. We got Friday opening day for the Hillsboro Hops today.
Hey.
Yeah, love it. I love having an opening day.
It's a solid opening day.
It is perfect for this.
It was cold last night, man.
It is cold this morning.
It was frosty.
For people that wake up in the morning.
37 degrees.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
people
I
wake
was
up in the
I
morning.
was probably up before you this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What time did you wake up?
6.
No, you weren't.
What the hell are you doing up for 6?
Exercising.
Oh, God.
That's why I'm up about 7.
Yeah.
'Cause I am not.
Yeah. But that's early for you. What time did you go to bed? For you, that's like 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah. Actually, I went to bed about 1:30 last night.
All right.
So a little bit earlier than usual, but that's
All
because
right.
I got home almost just before 10, I think, last night.
Okay.
So,
All right. Yeah,
not too
because the
bad.
Blazers played in Canada.
God, I love East Coast trips. Getting home before 1 o'clock in the morning is just so nice.
Yeah.
It's the simple things in life.
Sure. Yeah. That's great. Great part about living on the West Coast, man. Get them early games. They don't live that life on the East Coast. They don't know that.
No.
The early games
they
are
have
when they
late
play in
and later.
London.
Yeah, they have late and later. That's
Yeah.
West Coast, best coast for sports, man. It's undefeated.
I agree. We've got the market cornered here.
We wake up
with
at
our
9 in the
sports
morning
times.
and watch football.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
See,
10 a.m.
On the other side of the coin, though, there is part of me, and this is the old bartender in me, that would be, working until 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I feel like as an East Coaster, it'd be kind of nice to have, some NBA games on until 1 a.m.
Yeah, but also,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a very niche group, I guess, though,
It is, but that's like most people. You gotta go to work, right? Like this is the thing about like we talk about the East Coast bias and the complaint about like late college football kickoffs for fans out here. They're like, you get home too late. It's like, let's not argue about that.
Yeah.
Because like if you're complaining about a 7:30 kick, right out west. primetime games on the East Coast start at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
There's an 8 p.m. kick.
It's very dumb.
And if you want to say that, like, oh, well, they don't have to drive as far, they live closer to their stadiums or whatever, that's not true either. No, because
Those college football stadiums are out in the middle of nowhere.
I'm here to tell you, not everybody lives in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
No.
Not everybody lives in Knoxville, Tennessee that goes to those games.
In fact,
They come from a long ways.
a long ways away.
Yeah.
More often than not.
So, but the complaint should be that those late kicks don't get eyes on the East Coast of your team.
Yes.
And so your product suffers because you don't get the respect because nobody out there watches it. Nobody cares about it either.
No, you get the people like it's funny when you talk about like there's like this international swath of Blazers fans.
Mm.
And there's pockets in Australia, there's pockets in Japan, there's pockets in all over Europe, and then depending on what the Blazers have, the Blazers have more international players than any team in the league.
That makes sense
They have
because
9.
well, and it's like kind of a fake 9 though because Delano Banton and Shaden Sharp are Canadian, right? And then also technically Toumani Camara is Belgian.
Well, I mean,
but
he was raised in Belgium. He went to his senior year out here in Florida.
He'd been
And been at
senior year, so he went to a year in high school
Yeah.
and then went to 2 colleges out here.
So he's been
2
here.
colleges.
But he's I mean, he's still
He's Belgian.
yeah.
Yeah.
Denny
Yeah.
is, Israeli.
Israeli.
Serbian.
Yeah.
Yep. Trying to think who DA is
He's from the Bahamas.
Bahamas, yep.
You got
Yeah.
Matisse.
Matisse.
He's Thibault.
Yep. Australian.
Wait, but he was born and raised in Seattle, right?
I think he was
I thought he was born
I think
and
he went to
raised in
high
Seattle.
school there, but I think he was born in Australia.
Well,
If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
born, but again,
Yeah.
that's kind of a fake one
Okay.
because you go to high school out here.
WAP, South Sudan, and
yeah.
Australia,
Yeah, yeah,
and very internationally traveled. The
Repair.
Roots.
right, yeah. France.
And actually now Sidi Sissoko.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
look at that.
Also French.
And then Donovan Klingon, who's from a different planet
Yeah,
altogether.
basically.
Like he is just a mutant.
He's a Klingon.
Yeah, he's from outer space,
Mm.
Star Trek. Very international flair. But
Very.
who'd have saw that coming when you hired Mike Schmitz
Yeah.
to your front office?
The guy who cut his teeth. International scouting.
Oh my gosh, I'm so surprised.
I mean, look. If you're going to say anything about the front office, I mean, at least they're leaning into their strengths.
Yep, that is true.
So
That is true. Yeah, Blazers most international team in the NBA. That used to be the San Antonio Spurs, like every year.
Mhm.
I mean, that was just it. Granted, that was back when there weren't a lot of international
Yeah,
players,
I
and
mean,
they had like
Duncan and
4.
Virgin Islands, Manu from Argentina, Parker from France, DL from France.
Mhm.
Trying to think. Thiago Splitter, was he Brazil? Trying to think who else they had over the years that was also. Barbosa was Phoenix.
Now, technically, if they have a predominantly American roster, wouldn't the most international team in the league be the Toronto Raptors?
Yeah, that would be true. But you also have Steve Kerr played on those Spurs teams too. Remember that? He was born in Lebanon. If we want to go,
Oh yeah, technically. Yeah.
if you want to go with the fake international,
Because his father was what, like an ambassador?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Patty Mills on that team, Australia.
Ballsy Balla.
Yeah.
What are they? Are they the Boomers? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
Okay, Boomer.
Corey Joseph was on those early teams. He's Canadian.
I did not know that about Corey Joseph.
Gojo? Yeah, he's Canadian.
All right. I saw somebody put out a tweet because Tim Duncan's got dreads now.
Oh,
He's-
and they're
he's-
glorious.
He's leaned into the Rasta.
Yeah, he has.
But somebody tweeted out like, what's going on? What's the deal with Tim Duncan? It's like, dude, he's living his best life. That's what. Like, who cares? He looks glorious. I never knew Tim Duncan had that kind of flow. The potential of that flow. I wish Tim Duncan would have had that when he played. Instead, he played like the most boring player in the NBA, and he had the most boring haircut of anybody in the NBA. If Tim Duncan would have had that hair and like put it like back and had like a little
the
headband,
bandana.
his game would have looked way more cool.
Oh, yeah.
It would have like
Dreads flowing every time he hits a bank shot.
when people would have said Tim Duncan's game's boring, it'd be like, no, it's not.
No.
Look at that hair.
Yeah.
But he looked boring
It's the-
because of his haircut.
The Nene Hilario effect. Remember Nene with the
I
nuggets?
remember Nene. Yeah,
Remember he had the big dreads? He cut them off.
yeah, and then
Well, he
came
had
back down to earth.
testicular cancer, I think, if I'm right.
I don't know.
Well, I
don't
remember.
know.
I remember he lost one because there's a joke about him being the wrecking ball.
Yeah. Well, I love Tim Duncan's new look. I think it is.
Oh, it's great.
It's a phenomenal
Fashion
look.
icon.
And I had no idea. I'm assuming that this picture that I retweeted it a couple days ago. I'm assuming the picture is with his wife that's there. And I'm starting to see that there is a trend with the type of women that era of the San Antonio Spurs dated and married.
Yes.
She has a very Eva Longoria look, who was married to Tony Parker, right? She's a hot.
Yeah.
And good for Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Like, God bless you, Tim Duncan. You're doing well, my man. So let's not hate on Tim Duncan's gray dreads where he looks like, he takes a lot of bong rips. Maybe that's what it was. He just didn't want people to know. He didn't want people to know that he's kind of a stoner.
I mean,
Who'd have saw it coming? You know? Wake Forest.
It happens.
He cultivated the perfect boring image.
Yeah, it's called Leave Me Alone.
Yeah.
Maybe John Morant should consider that.
I don't think he's capable of that.
No, I don't think so either. Total derail moment.
Sure.
But we had this conversation watching the game last night. What is your favorite revenge movie? This all started because the revenge movie.
Okay.
Have you seen the previews of that movie, The Amateur, Rami Malek?
No.
Revenge
Yeah.
movie.
Don't watch commercials. Remember, we went over this the other day.
But
Unless it's a progressive dad commercial, I'm just tuned out to all of them.
I didn't realize it, but I love revenge movies.
Okay.
Like, love them. Like, there's some of my...
So you're like a big Taken fan?
John Wick,
Yeah.
Man on Fire,
Okay.
Denzel. Like, but the amateur, he's a
Equalizer?
CIA. Yeah, he's a CIA analyst, and a group of people end up like kidnapping and killing his wife. It's horrible, right?
Okay.
But he's not a field guy, and so he invents like very, very heinous and crazy ways to kill them all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in for this.
Favorite revenge movie? Dirty Work.
Rest in peace, Norm.
If you've seen that movie,
That's
a revenge movie.
is.
Not the kind you're talking about.
No.
You're talking to like action thriller. Dirty Work is
that is a bold submission. I like it.
Well, we
got my nose bitten off.
We saw the poster for Nobody 2 the other day.
Oh,
Nobody
yeah,
Did Good
yeah.
Revenge One, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the old, you had Charles Bronson in Death Wish.
Yeah.
And then a few years ago, Bruce Willis remade it.
Well, I know, Bruce Willis. Die Hard fit into that.
I'm not sure that's revenge.
He's doing it for his family.
It's revenge adjacent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at least, I guess, like once you get into the
Yeah.
Die Hard with a Vengeance, that's a revenge movie, but
quite
the,
literally
but
a
the
vengeance.
opposite direction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Law-abiding citizen might
John
be my
Wick.
favorite.
John Wick, in which, by the way, John Wick 5 coming.
Yeah, which
Yeah. Don't know how they're gonna pull out of that one.
Yeah,
It seemed like they really
Is
wrapped that up in 4.
Is that different than the Ballerina, or is that the John Wick 5?
I don't know. John Wick 5. All I saw was John Wick 5.
Huh. Because the
in
Ballerina, I think, is at least in the John Wick,
universe. Yeah. I will go John Wick. John Wick, because you got so many layers of the revenge. It's not just his family, it's his dog. You know?
yeah, well, you know it's
Well, and it's just hours of Keanu kicking ass.
yes,
Yeah.
but also
Yeah.
do you guys know it actually comes from the smallest kernel of truth? The John Wick, like what the original was written based on? Nothing.
No?
No.
Do you remember Marcus Luttrell, Lone
Yeah.
Survivor?
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Okay, yeah. I
like
seen
a
that.
cartel shot his dog,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and he went on like a maniac spree chasing them down.
Yeah.
Marcus Luttrell, been through it.
I would say so.
Been through it.
I would say so. That's really stretching the based on a true story. Inspired by true events.
There you go.
Yeah, inspired by true events.
Which basically that means this may or may not have happened
Yeah.
at any point in history.
Yeah. Mostly not. but we're gonna Hollywood this thing up just a little bit. Major League revenge movie.
Oh, you know what?
Hey.
Yeah.
They win the whole damn thing because of the owner.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm liking the outside the box submissions here.
Thank you. I've got
Little Giants?
Little Giants is a revenge
because you
movie.
Wouldn't let him be on the team?
Icebox couldn't play.
Yeah.
No, and Icebox was the damn best player in that tryout
What was the name of that play? The annexation of
of Puerto Rico.
Rico.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Wick 5 confirmed, which also confirms that John Wick is not dead. Spoiler.
Yeah, but I'm wondering because the whole thing collapsed in 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole syndicate.
Well, no, I
Done.
mean, not necessarily. The table still reigns, but what was Skarsgård's character? He was like the fixer or whatever.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Well, yeah.
See, I'm going to be a little disappointed if they start going all, Mike Myers or Jason Voorhees here, and you think they keep killing him, but he keeps coming back.
Yeah, that's pretty. Oh, hey, how about this submission on the fan text line? Revenge of the Nerds.
Quite literally revenge.
It is a revenge movie.
I like it.
You Tiger Bomb in the jockstrap.
Yeah. I like it. Not the Tiger Balm, but I like the submission.
Yeah. Boy, that movie, Revenge of the Nerds. You want to talk about some problematic things?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Breaking
God.
into the sorority and putting up cameras.
Yeah.
Yikes,
Yeah,
dog.
not getting away with that movie today.
Hey, that's
I would-
funny.
yeah,
Now you're
yeah.
like, oh no,
Yeah.
that's criminal.
Now y'all are going to prison.
I don't think we're getting any Porkies either.
You know, no. I remember watching Porky's when I was like 11 years old.
I was younger than that. I snuck down. My parents had rented it.
No, I probably was younger than
I think
11.
I was like 6 or 7 and hiding behind the couch watching it. They didn't know I was down there,
That explains a lot, man.
right?
Yeah, that explains a lot. Yeah. Congrats about that, man. Yeah. But Revenge of the Nerds, I can't wait. Have you ever seen, well, I know you guys have probably seen these. People they'll put like dramatic music behind, loving films or television shows and make them look like they are the good guy's the bad guy. Like they've done this with the first person, like where it was popularized was How I Met Your Mother. Barney Stinson, Neil Patrick Harris's character.
Yeah.
He goes with Cobra Kai, or like Karate Kid is the bad guy. You know, he's like, no, Cobra Kai's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he has like this whole spiel as to why they are actually the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to do that with Revenge of the Nerds, which is, hey, the Alpha Beta is new. These guys were sick. They were twisted.
Ooh.
And they were criminals. These guys are perverts.
Peeping Toms.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, I like this. Coming at it from a different angle.
Yeah. You just spin it.
You better, get some IP trademark on that.
Yeah.
Some algorithm's going to grab it. It's going to end up on some desk at Sony. God.
All right.
Here's one from the text line. My favorite revenge film: Kim Kardashian getting back at Nick Cannon with Ray J.
No. If you have you ever seen the
That's a comeback
outtakes?
story.
Yeah, the outtakes of Parks and Rec. Chris Pratt. It's an outtake of they ask like everybody loves a good I'm not even gonna say it. Just go look it up.
What is
Chris
Chris
Pratt,
What is her name?
Parks and Rec.
From that show, Rashida Jones loses it, but
Amy Poehler.
No. Nicole Albrecht's twin.
Oh, Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
The second Chris Pratt says it, she slaps him.
Yeah.
And it's so great.
Yeah, and everybody's just dead.
Yeah.
on
Ron
set.
Swanson's character loses it. I mean, just
There's it's about a 2-minute cut up of just Chris Pratt ad-libbing in that show that is
unreal.
breaks the entire cast.
Yeah.
Like he's a talented
actually-
actor.
He actually broke the set once. There's one outtake of him like jumping over a desk and like throwing a computer, and the computer like flies into a light switch and breaks the light switch, and like they like oh, we have to fully stop everything that we're doing and have an electrician come in here and fix this.
He
He's
just went all
like,
Mary Catherine
"Oops."
Gallagher on us.
All right, let's get the show on the road, shall we? We got a lot that we need to get to. Final Four coming up this weekend. We have got a lot of NBA talk. It was a great night in the NBA last night. Back-to-back nights.
It was.
If you want to talk about
games that matter
Well,
are good?
yeah,
Weird.
I mean, that doesn't include the Blazers, but a lot of them did. The month of April, we are only in the fourth day, and they've only played 3 days worth of basketball in the month of April. Holy camole.
All 3 days.
It has
All 3
been
days. Meaningful, impactful, great games.
and just crazy, stupid, great. I mean, you have the crazy and stupid with John Morant and Russell Westbrook. You have, and Luka. You have really good basketball, high leverage games. It's been really fun to see.
Warriors Lakers going bonkers last night.
Yeah, that game was fun, and Kevin Harlan proved again why he is
So
the
good.
best. He's the best to have on those big games. All right, where we got to start though? In the Final Four, who's the bad guy? Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Final Four gets underway tomorrow down in San Antone.
Sweet baby Jesus, thank you. I hate the break between the Elite Eight and Final Four. I just want to keep it going.
Oh, I
just
think
want to keep it going.
I think you get a little build up, a little break. Tournament basketball is really hard, especially at this point. You know, these guys. I think for some teams,
They need the rest.
you want to keep pushing forward, but for the Final Four we have this year,
Janai Broom needs it.
you want that rest for these teams because we got 4 1 seeds in the tournament. Who's the bad guy in this tournament? Who do people not want to see win? Because I think ultimately it's Duke, but we've talked about this before. John Shire, Cooper Flagg, hell, even Con Knipple, which if Coach K was the coach of this team, we'd probably hate Con Knipple.
Yes.
And people would be making because Con Knipple is KK, it'd be like KK with Coach K, and
Yeah.
be
You know where that would go.
Yeah, we know where that would go, and they'd just be like, everybody hates Duke, right?
Which is interesting. One of those, you get these in leading up to big matchups, whether it's the Final Four, Super Bowl, World Series. Like who is the country rooting for? And I was shocked yesterday. The team that has the most public support on social media is Houston.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because they're still seen as this little engine that could. There's been enough time that has lapsed between Houston and Phi Slamma Jamma and being a basketball power to where it is now that I think people have forgot just how rich the tradition and history is of Houston basketball and how much they really care about it. And they're new to being in a power conference too. Right? I mean, they were in the American just a couple of years ago. Now here they are as a member of the Big 12 in a Final Four. And it seems like this little engine that could story. But, I mean, the
Which is
reality.
hilarious. They have one of the top 10 recruits in the country heading to them next year. It's like, they're not that team, guys.
They went from 1992 to 2010 without an NCAA tournament appearance. From 1992 to 2017, they only had that one appearance in the NCAA tournament in 2010.
Just as an aside, Duke has the number 1 recruiting class in the country with the Boozer twins and a couple other guys heading to Duke. Houston has the number 2 class in the country. They have 3 of the top 25 players in the country joining them next year.
Wow.
Yeah. One of them is that top 10 guy I was talking about with Chris Senak. He was just in the All-American game, McDonald's All-American game on Monday.
Yeah, it is a little wild though that this Houston is dubbed as like America's darling in this, despite the fact that they have been ranked in the top 5 in 4 of the last 5 seasons, and that one season that they weren't, the highest they reached was 6th in the country.
Yeah.
They've been. Kelvin Sampson is a hell of a basketball coach
and a great recruiter.
And it's taken him. Do you know how long he's been there?
I want to say 12 years.
It's his 11th season there, right? It's his 11th season, and he's finally built a consistent winner.
Yeah, the thing is, for him, he doesn't. This has been kind of a shift over the last couple of years of getting these better recruiting classes. Don't get me wrong, you always want to get the best players, but he has been loud and proud about, I don't care about your stars.
Mm-hmm.
We don't just go recruit stars. We recruit culture first, and then we see if you've got the we want mentality over talent, but we're trying to get the most talented of that mentality. Yeah. And it's not every class that they recruit is going to have these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, what they're trying to do is if there's a top 25 every year, there's probably 2 or 3 guys in that top 25 that are nasty. Cooper Flagg is nasty. If he had gone to Houston, I'd be like, yeah, that's a hand in glove fit, baby. I could see that all day. But there's some years you may not get those guys. And so they go kind of more the Marquette path, the Tom Crean, chip on your shoulder, Dana Altman. They have a style that they want to play. They want to put you in a chokehold, and they'd rather do that than recruit the stars. And so sometimes it's just not as flashy.
Yeah, I was reading a story of a guy who he actually used to work for the Oregonian for a little bit. Brian, you remember Brian Smith? Brian T. Smith.
Mhm.
He wrote an article where he kind of talked about that idea of the players that they're attracting. He was talking to one of the assistants, Casey Beard, who's been with Sampson the entire time he's been at Houston, and talking about finding those guys in kind of the identity that you're building at Houston. And it's very odd that a team that has been a 1 seed the last 3 NCAA tournaments can still hold that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Right?
Look, their recruiting class last year ranked 49th.
All right.
49th. That's the year before that, 22nd. The year before that, they are 44th. These are not the marks of Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, and yet they have found themselves there year after year after year after year.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn impressive.
I still think that we do have Duke as the bad guy. I think that...
Bad guy in name only?
How do people feel about Florida and Auburn, though?
I would think that maybe they're looking at Auburn because of Bruce Pearl.
I love Auburn.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, and is Florida's coach and his past enough of a big deal to skew some of that?
I just think people don't like Florida in general, because there's a certain arrogance about the Florida Gators that permeates. I mean, and you just go, a little bad taste in your mouth, kind of deal.
It's not quite like Duke arrogance, but yeah,
it's not even close. It's not even close to that. But Duke has softened, though. I think that that's the fun part about this Final Four, is that there are storylines for each team that you can pull for, and you can find a way to
like every team
to get on board with them. Yeah, whether it is in Florida, the likable story of Florida is Walter Clayton Jr., who, he started at Iona. Is that right?
Yeah, because he's transferred twice.
And he is a guy that, dude, he is popped, and he averaged 18 points a game on the season. He's averaging 23 in the tournament. Like, he has ramped up his game when it means the most for Florida.
Your most outstanding player of the tournament, it's between Clayton, Broome, and Flagg.
Yep.
Like, those are your three.
Dang, man. If we see Duke do what they've done to everybody else tomorrow against Houston,
if they beat Houston like they beat everybody else,
everybody turns on them. Yeah. And everybody, no matter who wins that SEC one, and it will be, we are going for the team from the SEC, Florida or Auburn.
Because if they become the Death Star, if they go out there and handle Houston,
and it's like this unstoppable force.
Yeah, like, we can't have this.
Yeah, and again, that is a change in Duke, because every time Coach K had one of those teams, they lost. Yeah. I mean, again, we talk about those great freshmen they've had over the years. This is the first one to deliver. Yep, and he's delivering in spades. Cooper Flagg's been outstanding. Yeah. Named AP Player of the Year today, too, and that we'll talk about that a little bit later. But he's lived up to all of the hype, and he's deserving, man.
He's got 2 games left to make that path for best one and done ever. It's on the table.
It is on the table.
Which is crazy to think. It's on the table.
I mean, Melo,
AD,
KD, AD.
Yeah, I think Flagg's past KD.
Yeah?
I mean, what he's done on the team side. Like, don't be wrong, 26-11 from KD was insane.
Yeah.
But that Texas team wasn't that good.
But that's the thing. Kevin Durant made them relevant and made them good. He didn't play alongside the guys that Cooper Flagg's playing with. That's for damn sure. Kevin Durant was a freak of nature.
God, can you imagine, though, if he had he stayed in college another year, KD and LaMarcus?
That would have been pretty good. I think that would have been all right for them.
Would have been a pretty good team.
They would have figured out a way to make things work there. All right, 503-864-6326. That is the fan text line. We had some incredible finishes around the NBA last night. The Portland Trailblazers was not one of them. They did beat the Toronto Raptors. But the first 3 days of the month of April, if it is a sign of things to come, buckle up, because it's been a wild first 3 days of April as we head into, it's now the night of April 4th. Tonight it's going to get weird. Danny and Dusty, here's Rust with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers are in Chicago on the second night of a back-to-back to face the Bulls. 5 o'clock tip on KUNP, Xfinity Channel 302 or 2.2 on your antenna. DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Robert Williams III are out. Jeremy Grant doubtful, and then Tumani Kamara, Duop Reith, Anthony Simons are all questionable. The Blazers are 6-point dogs. The NBA has fined Grizzly star Ja Morant $75,000 after doing the finger guns for the second time this week. First Tuesday against the Warriors, after which he was given a warning by the league, and then again last night versus the Heat. Over on the Diamond, the Mariners start a weekend trip to San Francisco this afternoon against the Giants. Luis F. Castillo starting for Seattle. Justin Verlander for San Francisco. 1:35 first pitch on Root Sports. We're headed to round 2 of the Valero Texas Open from TPC San Antonio. Kashmir Keith Mitchell picking up where he left off. He's 1 under on the round today through 2 holes, leaving him at 9 under overall. He is 1 stroke clear of Brian Harmon, and then tied for third, 2 strokes back, are Sam Ryder and Matt Wallace. And on the ice, up 3-1, the Winterhawks a chance to clinch the series against Prince George tonight at Memorial Coliseum. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The original home of the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays 9 to noon, 1080 The Fan.
Portland Trailblazers got another win last night, 112-103 in Toronto. That may be one of the wild things of the NBA is that the Blazers just seemingly keep trying to win and do.
I mean, you weren't going to lose that game.
Yeah, the way they tanked really hard.
Yeah.
And that's talking Trailblazers. The entirety of the NBA, though, is going a little nuts when you think about all of the things that have happened just in the month of April, and they've only played 3 days worth of games this month so far. We can go from the wild and weird, the whole Ja Morant finger gun gate that's happening right now, where he does the finger guns to the Golden State Warriors. He and Buddy Hield of Golden State get a warning that, hey, you guys better watch yourselves here. And literally the same day, Ja Morant last night hits a game winner against the Miami Heat, does the finger guns.
Yep.
Which, can we talk about that? He 100% fully extended his arm and pushed off.
Yes. I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, that was one of those ones where you're like, I know time and situation, but that one was pretty egregious. He goes into the land of the Giants. They go straight up, and he just goes yank, step back. Great shot.
Look,
game winner.
When you weigh $170, you get away with some stuff because you get beat up most of the time. But the whole finger gun of it all, it's like, it's taken over kind of social media today, and the only people really defending Ja are Grizzlies fans. The rest of the world is saying, "Are you stupid?"
I think he is.
Yeah, and it's very much it is because like it was like the rules are different for Ja. Yes. Congratulations, you have cleared the first hurdle to mental capacity.
Well, I'll let you know this one too. If you're on probation, rules are different for you too.
Especially when you get the phone call 12 hours before. I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was on social media, just quantify this the best way. It's not that what Ja did is so egregious or the finger guns are so egregious. It's that
it's not because in a vacuum.
Totally fine.
It's not an egregious celebration, but you have to have awareness of who you are and what you have done in your past.
It's like with Draymond Green. Every time he does something mildly out of pocket, it's going to be looked at harder because he was so out of pocket for so long.
Yeah.
Ja, you flash guns, dude. Do the ice in your veins. Do the DX chop. I don't care. Give the bird to the bench. I don't care. It is perception. They have told you, don't do this thing, dummy.
Yeah.
And you went and did it 12 hours later. It was like, what's the big deal? Anybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
It's the one thing you were asked not to do. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Just don't. I don't understand it.
Shams Charania has reported that Ja Morant had a call with Adam Silver.
Yes.
They talked and that night. Finger guns.
Right to it. And again, the post that I was referencing, it was like, it's not, the people aren't tired or worried about the finger guns.
You stupid or something.
People at the NBA's head office are sick and tired of getting meeting invites at 1 o'clock in the morning for an 8 o'clock invite to deal with this idiot over the same thing.
Yeah. Well,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's any boss anywhere.
Yeah.
If you have to deal with the same idiot making the same mistakes over and over and over again, guess what you're going to do? Yeah. You're going to get tired of it. And you're going to go, you know what, dude, we're done with you.
Yep.
And they're done with him is finding and suspending him.
Yeah. In addition to that wildness, if you look at the Western Conference standings right now, the difference between the 3 seed and the 6 seed in the final stretch of the season with 5 to 6 games to play is only 2 games separating. Actually, it's 5 and 7 right now. Or 3 and 7, I should say. Golly, numbers hard. So the Denver Nuggets, if they hit the skids and they've lost 2 in a row, they could go from hosting as the 3 seed to the play-in game, which is wild.
It's so and again, it's actually 3 through 8 because the Clippers are a half game back. If the Clippers win tonight, they'll be tied in that same group.
Oh,
it is insanely tight, and this is what I was talking about with like the games across the conference and why it's going to, like, everyone's like, oh, the Blazers, maybe they could sneak in the play, and the Warriors and Lakers might be resting the last 2 games of the season. I'd be stunned if they were.
Yeah.
Because seeding is so tight.
They're fighting.
They're fighting for
They're
matchups.
grinding. And last night's result of the Warriors and in the Lakers, what a game. And Kevin Harlan was on his A game during that.
Approaching 2 to go. Warriors by 7. Green sets a screen. Curry 3. What a big hit. Here comes Reeves. He'll fake a 3. Hachimura gets off to LeBron. Green is right there. Here's a 3, LeBron.
Dude, it was big shot after big shot going back and forth as the Warriors ended up pulling out a win last night in LA, which pulled them within a game of the Lakers, okay, in the Western Conference standings, 123-116. But coming out of that, it's not just you had these back and forths where Curry, LeBron, Reeves are all making big shots left and right. It's the fact Luka Doncic could not hit the broadside of a barn.
First game in, was it 5 years, 6 years? He hasn't hit a 3?
Well, it was since 2023, but it was a 114 game span since he last failed to make a 3-point shot. He's gone 114 games, making at least 1 3. He went 0 for 6. It was the 5th longest streak in NBA history that Luka had, and he could not make a shot down the stretch. But what kind of amplified his poor performance and got a little bit of consternation with the Laker fans is that
he got cooked.
He went down into the middle to try to take over. If you're not hitting from deep, right? Be Luka. He tries to go up late in the game with like 23 seconds to go. Draymond strips him, and now we're going to see Draymond Defensive Player of the Year. He came up with 3 massive defensive stops on TNT. That push is going to be there for him to
it's already
win
there
Defensive Player of the
publicly.
Year.
Marcus Thompson, who's the kind of face of media for the Bay, he's been covering that team for a long time, back before they were good, and so he kind of gets the cachet nod of the hey, can you start this narrative for us? Again, Draymond is the favorite in the betting books. Everybody that I talk to that covers the league, the people who actually vote on this stuff, he's going to be a consideration for all defensive team. I have not talked to a single media member, a single voting media member that has Draymond Green as Defensive Player of the Year. Not one.
They're going to try to make it a thing.
I don't think he's even going to get a vote.
Oh, really?
I do feel like it's going to be spread out. You're not going to have a runaway Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
It's going to be close.
If
But
he has any more games like he had last night down this stretch, he may be in that conversation
it's
because
Defensive Player of the Year, not Defensive Player of the Quarter year.
Yeah, I know, but recency bias and the fact that there's no standout, it's what can you do for me now
And
in the last
voters
impression.
Voters are not good on this stuff, especially the folks that actually don't watch the rest of the league.
Yeah. But last night we also had an individually historic performance. Giannis,
oh my God,
went for 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 20 assists.
20 assists is such a crazy number
for a man of his size.
For anyone.
But Giannis is a freak of nature, and he needs to be piggybacking this team, and he has absolutely done that. But he goes 35, 17, and 20 in the Bucks because no Dame. Dame's got blood clots. He's not going to be playing.
They don't have Middleton anymore. Kuzma's turned into a pumpkin. Brooke Lopez is being relied on a ton, and he was good last. Here's the crazy thing
about it. It took
about
everything they had to beat the
Sixers,
who are bottoming out.
Giannis had 20 assists and only 2 turnovers. He spent that much time on the ball and did not turn the ball over. What's even more insane, he's 10 of 11 from the line and 12 of 19 from the field.
So you add that.
Good Lord.
You add that last night to Jokic's 61, 10, and 10 triple-double.
Yes, in a game that they lost in the last second.
Steph's 50-point,
near
5 steal with 10 made threes performance.
He had 10 rebounds, 8 assists. He was just short of triple-double.
And then in that Jokic triple-double, Westbrook absolutely blows a game and turns a win into a loss
Smoked
with a
layup
missed
into
layup.
a fouled 3.
All of everything that we just talked about has happened in 3 days in the month of April.
And Edwards went nuts in that fourth quarter of that Timberwolves win. The basketball is basketballing very hard. And this is my
crazy.
This is my big argument. Make games matter across the board. Now, look, you're not going to get every single game, but my God, half the league can't not matter in a given night.
Yeah.
It just can't, man.
Yeah.
When you have 8 legitimate teams that don't want to win, that's 16 teams.
Mm-hmm.
If those 8 are playing non-taking teams, that's more than half the league off the table
That's crazy.
on a given night.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
One last thing on that Lakers Warriors game. LeBron went for 33, 5 and 9.
Mhm.
Steph went for 37, 6 assists with 4 threes made. Those two combined for 70 points in the game. Their combined age, 77.
Yeah. Crazy.
The old dude's cooking.
Still got it.
Let's go.
It's just better. It's just better training and nutrition.
That's right.
That's all it is.
Chef Curry. That's
Yeah.
his nickname.
Yep.
That's what he does.
Just eating better.
That's
Pay
yeah.
no attention to the fact that how he looked when he came in the league versus how he looks now.
I will not do that.
No.
All right. Something popped up on my timeline. I think it's worth a listen. An Oregon early enrollee, DeCorian Moore, 5-star wide receiver, number 1 wide receiver in the country. He got an invite to Ryan Clark's Pivot podcast, and what he had to say was pretty impressive for a kid who should still be in high school. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. All right, Oregon has early enrollee DeCorian Moore. He's on campus practicing with the Ducks, and he's popped up on my timeline last night, and I found it really interesting. He went on the Pivot podcast, Ryan Clark's podcast.
Yeah, there's been some good stuff come out of that.
Yeah, and I thought this was really interesting question Ryan Clark asked him. And because a 5-star kid who is the number 1 wide receiver in the country, a lot of expectations heaped upon him, and kind of handling that and what it looks like for him at the University of Oregon.
Everybody expects you to play. You were recruited because you're the best wide receiver in the country, but what happens if the playing time isn't exactly what you want? What happens if the fit isn't the fit you want? Do you want to try to see everything through at that one school, or will you use the sort of tools that are given to you to find the best place for you?
Obviously, me coming to a school, I felt like, I'm going to have the opportunity to play. That was regardless of, whatever school I chose. Just me having the talent that I have, the work ethic that I have, coming in and be able to work hard and just, put my name out there, just go in and make plays like I've been doing. Mm-hmm. If I don't get the playing time that I think I deserve or whatever, it's not really gonna do anything, to me mentally, because I'm a freshman coming in. I will be behind guys that, have obviously been there, learned the system, been with the quarterbacks. Because, we have Dante Moore. He's been under the system already. Just making sure he's comfortable at all times and stuff like that. You got to do what's best for the quarterback. So it's not really, much to that.
You are built to do this, by the way.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive
for a kid, high school senior, 5-star kid.
Even if you take it with the glass, the most empty, the most cynical approach of he's saying a canned answer, it's a really good canned answer. There's thought into it. And again, I'm not saying that's what I believe. I actually believe
that's totally a fair thing if you want to say it's a canned answer. But then you go back to something that Dan Lanning repeats all the time about the recruiting process, and especially when guys just say, "Oh, they just throw the bag at a guy." In the landscape of NIL, yes, that happens, and it happens all the time. But one thing that he always says is that in the recruiting process, at the top of their evaluation is, do they love football? Mm-hmm. Do they love football, and are they committed to getting better? Right? And I was talking with some guys I went on a New York Giants draft show, and that was kind of the reoccurring thing where they kept asking about guys like Jeffrey Bossa, Josh Connerly, Derek Harmon, Dylan Gabriel, Tez Johnson. That's kind of the common thread that you keep pulling, is that dude just loves football. And you hear DeCorian Moore as an incoming freshman understanding, yeah, I'm going to be playing with some grown-ass men who've been here for a few years. They know the system. They know the quarterbacks. They know everything. My whole thing as a wide receiver is I came in, I want to compete, and I got to make the quarterback feel the most comfortable as he possibly can.
There was a very, very heady, let the chips fall where they may, but I'm going to have something to do with those chips.
Yeah.
But there was I'm not ceding control, but I know the deal.
If I'm a Duck fan, I love hearing that answer.
Hell's a football fan. I hadn't heard that before you played it, and that's again, even if I was taking it with the most cynical approach,
right,
I come out of that with a pretty favorable impression of DeCorian Moore.
Yeah, that was impressive, and we haven't heard him speak a lot. Yeah. Obviously, just been on campus for a couple of months or a couple of weeks down in Eugene, but you go, all right, that's kind of that mentality that always compete, want to compete. And we'll just see where it's at the end of the day. Have a feeling he's going to be playing a lot.
You know what? That we talk about all the negatives of youth development now. That right there is, to me, is a showcase for the positive.
Right.
That's preparing young men to be ready for the next level better. Because if you had asked a top wide receiver recruit 10, 15 years, Keyshawn Johnson, at USC. I mean.
We talk about it all the time here, but Andrew Wiggins came for Nike Hoop Summit one year, and Isaac was pumped to interview him because he was number one recruit in the country, was going to Kansas. It was an interview that has never been aired on this station.
Yeah, because there's nothing behind it.
He was woefully ill-prepared
Yeah.
to do it. And that is the difference even from when Andrew Wiggins was in high school to where we are now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at a guy like Scoot.
Training, man.
Just like the readiness for the non-court, non-field stuff.
Yep. Well, a lot of guys are getting ready for something else, and it's a mad dash. Boy, the Wild Wild West is turning into the OK Corral this weekend. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Prescriptions required.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the Trailblazers are in Chicago on the second night of a back-to-back to face the Bulls. 5 o'clock tip on KUNP. That's Xfinity Channel 302 or 2.2 on your antenna. DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Robert Williams III are out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful, and Tumani Kamara, Duop Reith, and Anthony Simons are all questionable. The Blazers are 6-point underdogs. The NBA has fined Grizzlies star Ja Morant $75,000 after doing the finger guns for the second time this week. First was Tuesday against the Warriors, after which he was given a warning by the league, and then again last night versus the Heat. Mariners start a weekend trip to San Francisco this afternoon against the Giants. Luis F. Castillo starting for Seattle. Justin Verlander for San Francisco. First pitch coming up in about a half an hour on Root Sports. Round 2 of the Valero Texas Open from TPC San Antonio. Kashmir Keith Mitchell continuing his smooth play. He is 9 under overall, 1 under through 4 on the day. It's 1 stroke clear of Brian Harmon at 8 under par. And then you've got Sam Ryder and Matt Wallace. They are both in the clubhouse at 7 under par. Among those, tied for 12th at 4 under, you got Keegan Bradley, Jordan Spieth, Maverick McNeely, Tom Hoagie, and Tony Finau. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
What in God's name is going on in here? What was that ruckus?
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
What ruckus? I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app.
Did you describe the ruckus, sir?
And 1080.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
The Fan.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Friday afternoon. Thanks for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours. 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2. The Odyssey app, twitch.tv/1080am The Fan, and youtube.com/1080am The Fan. Party on, party people on the YouTube stream. We have got a big weekend ahead of us. And it's not just the Final Four in college hoops.
Go on.
Monday is a monumental day for college athletics. That is when a judge in California is set to finalize the House settlement.
Dun, 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 dun.
Bum, bum, bum. Which is, if you have been following along, that will put into place the $20.5 million that universities can pay out directly to student athletes in NIL funds. It will also establish, in all likelihood, Deloitte as a third-party overseer of any other NIL money outside of what the universities have. So if it is a NIL deal that, what was the threshold? Was it $600 or $6,000?
600 was the first threshold.
Yeah, anything over that goes to them, and they say, well, this is way too much for what this student athlete is worth, and that's going to be challenged in, I don't know, every court.
And lose in glorious fashion.
Yeah. But all of that is set to be finalized on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is that this weekend is the final weekend for any NIL deal
that isn't going to go into that.
To get pen to paper, to get done before caps are set.
Yep.
And that has led to why we see so many college basketball players in the portal right now.
And big transfer portal names. You've already seen Henry Vasar, who just committed to North Carolina, probably because he got the paperwork done for the check.
From Arizona.
Xavier Lee has left the transfer, or has gone into the transfer portal for Princeton. He's a second round guy, but he's a great college point guard. Like, you're seeing some big names. Ivasic.
Yeah.
He's got his brother at Illinois, and there's talk of him either going to Illinois or Indiana. Like, you're going to see these deals for these guys that are going to test these waters and get this done now. They're going to do it over the weekend. But it's also a big deal for those Final Four teams. Because guess what? They're all recruiting still, and they're looking at guys that may or may not test the NBA waters. Like JoJo Tugler at Houston is a guy that might test the waters.
That's such a great name.
Yeah, he goes by Joseph sometimes, and I'm like, no.
Be JoJo.
JoJo Tugler is a great name, dude.
Yeah.
Go with that.
Yeah.
Brand that. That's a good one to ride on.
Dude, JoJo or Big Joe Tugler?
Mm-hmm.
Big Joe Tugler.
But these schools, and I don't feel sorry for them, but Bruce Pearl's out there telling everybody, like, look, man, it's a mad dash. Like, I have to try to balance this while also worrying about Florida tomorrow.
Well, and there's Blake Lawrence, who runs Open Doors, and he's an interesting cat. I've talked to him a few times about the landscape of NIL, and Open Doors is one of the companies where it's basically a portal for athletes to sign up to, and then companies can reach out for NIL opportunities. Ross Dellinger has an article up that Lawrence is quoted in, where he says that there are like deals that are written out, ready to go, ready to sign, just once players are done.
Yeah.
Like, they're just waiting. There's contracts that are written up.
Because they're talking to their agents, because these guys have agents now.
They're all written up, ready to go for not the school they're currently at, by the way. But, and that's the thing, is it's an agent doing it. They're just doing their thing.
Handle my business.
And this goes back to like the whole, Kevin Willard. I haven't talked to my agent. My agent talks to people. Jonathan Smith with the whole Oregon State, Michigan State thing with my agent, I'm sure he's talking to people about things. We all know what's up.
Look, man, if you've ever gone house hunting and you've had a realtor, if you had a good realtor, they're calling you probably, if not every day, every other day. Like you're getting feedback.
Yep.
You're having somebody do something on your behalf that is a major, major deal. They're not leaving you in the dark.
Nope. Nope.
Like, it's so disingenuous to paint it that way.
But it's leading to what is going to be a crazy weekend.
Yes.
You're going to see deals done. Oh. Second, third, fourth options are going to fall into place in an instant. And like, make no mistake too, there's conversations being had right now, probably with those agents saying, hey man, look, he's not our number one, but if this guy falls through, here's what we're willing to give up. And so
because they're probably looking at a guy who's going to the NBA and seeing what kind of a grade he gets.
Yep.
And that grade has salary slotting behind it. And that does impact this stuff. Like if you can get $850,000 as a two-way versus getting a cool guaranteed $1.5 million.
It's crazy.
Guess what you should go do?
It's absolutely.
Go take the $1.5 million.
It's absolutely crazy right now.
And look, and
what's happening?
There's an interesting article that's up on CBS Sports right now that talks about some of the most impactful players in the Final Four that were transfers last year that took less money to go to programs. LJ Cryer, what's his name? Sion James and Mason Gillis, Malik Brown at Duke. Uzon. Like, these are all guys that had more money. I think Uzon was out there basically saying, you wouldn't believe the money that is out there, even for a guy like me.
Even for a guy like me. Yeah, there's a quote that Dellinger has there where there's an agent of a player who averaged 10 points a game in college basketball this year. And his agent's like, dude, he's getting offered like $2 million a year.
Yeah.
And he averaged 10 points a game.
Yeah. That's why these guys are getting agents, man.
Yikes.
It's like, I talked to an agent who reps a player at Duke. And this was in the beginning of the season. And I was like, wait, you've already signed him? We're a week into the season. He's like, yeah, bro. He goes, he knows what he's doing.
Duh.
And I was just like, oh, it's getting that serious now.
Yeah.
Like, fresh on campus, you've already got an agent. Like, it's just like that. We have teleported through this stuff at like light speed.
Yeah.
Of like, agents weren't allowed in the building, and now they're signing guys like the first week of the season.
If
nuts.
This is the wild, wild west that everybody's talking about. Right now is a showdown at the OK Corral.
Yeah.
This is where it's going to be a bloodbath, and it's all going to come to an end on Monday, right?
Well,
similar to that saga in Tombstone, Arizona, it doesn't end there.
No.
It doesn't end at the OK Corral.
It changes.
But it looks a lot different. It looks a lot different. The war's still going to be fought, but it's going to look a lot different.
It's a lot more Cold
come
War.
Monday. Yeah. Hey, this is an interesting question that was answered. Who does AI believe is the most delusional fan base in college football?
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Yeah, right?
That's pretty good.
Interesting, huh?
Let's see what Allen Iverson has to say.
Next on The Fan. Somebody finally did it. They asked the questions to AI that fan bases have been arguing over for years. At CFB Home on X asked the question, let's settle this once and for all. Okay? Hey Grok, which is Twitter's AI arm. Who are the 5 most delusional college football fan bases? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, what do you think the 5 most delusional college football fan bases are?
Florida State.
Okay.
Tennessee.
Okay.
I don't think any of the Pac-12, old Pac-12 teams are going to be on there in the top 5.
You would be correct.
Penn State.
No. But
okay.
that's a good guess.
I'm really. It feels like it's going to be heavy SEC Big Ten. Am I wrong?
No.
Ohio State.
Okay.
Even though that the delusion is probably not that far from winning a title. And I'll go. God, I want to go one out of the box here, but I'm not. Nebraska?
That's a really good guess. You, my friend, I thought you put together a very good list. I really do. You got 1 of 5.
Wow.
According to Grok.
Wow.
Yeah. Here's what Grok said. College football fan bases are a passionate bunch, and sometimes that passion can blur the line between optimism and delusion. Based on recurring themes in various discussions, rankings, and sentiments expressed across platforms like sports articles, forums, and social media, here's a take on the top 5 most delusional fan bases as of April 3rd, 2025. This isn't an exact science. Delusion is subjective, but those groups often get called out for expectations that don't quite match reality. Okay. Number 5, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just going to give you a quick one here. Basically, they're in a time warp reliving 1998.
Yes.
Okay.
That Tennessee was one of the first ones that popped in my head.
Number 4, Auburn. Auburn fans live in a world where they're always one step from toppling Alabama and dominating the SEC.
Yeah, that's good. They're stuck in a very similar time warp.
Okay, this is where it gets a little weird.
Okay.
Number 3, Michigan. Michigan fans love to tout all-time wins and college football royalty status, but the past decade plus has been a roller coaster. Before their recent title in 2023, they endured years of losing to Ohio State and falling short of expectations, yet still acted like they were perennial contenders.
Yeah.
Even post-championship, some argue their arrogance has only grown, ignoring the lean years that preceded it.
Yeah.
Okay. Texas, number 2. This is my favorite thing.
I thought about going Texas.
AI has got it. You know what the very first line of the rundown of Texas being at number 2 is?
Texas is back.
Texas is back. Has become a meme for a reason. Longhorn fans have been riding the high of their 2005 national championship for nearly 2 decades, convinced every season that their massive resources and recruiting prowess will finally restore them to glory. Even with a strong 2024, the annual preseason hype often overshoots their actual performance, especially given their historical inconsistency in the modern era. And the number 1 team of delusional fan bases in all of college football, this will warm your heart, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
I was going to go down that path, but I stayed away from it because even with the exception of 2 years, they still have been good.
Yeah.
But they do tout like we're a national title winner every single bleeping year.
Here's
That's
what
like,
Grok had to say about them. Notre Dame fans consistently top lists for their unwavering belief that their team is still an elite powerhouse. Though it was decades ago. Despite not winning a national title since 1988 and getting routinely outmatched in big playoff games, they cling to their storied history and academic prestige as proof of eternal relevance. The hype every offseason feels like a ritual, only to end in familiar disappointment, yet the faithful never waver.
Because they've been more successful than a Penn State, I definitely thought of all the ones that I named, Tennessee and Penn State were going to be on that list.
Yeah. Grok gave an honorable mention to Texas A&M for big spending and modest results.
Yeah.
Miami, still chasing the U of old.
Mm-hmm.
And Nebraska, 90s nostalgia in a new century.
Yeah. Nebraska was I could see this one being in there.
I went to Gemini, Google's AI.
Yeah, what
I asked for a top 10.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I'm not going to give you a rundown on each one of them, but I will say...
Who are the other teams that were on there?
What I will say, the list is
Very
far
similar?
closer to yours.
Oh, okay.
Than Grok's. Number 10, Michigan State. They just think that the moderate success and their expectations are bonkers.
Yeah.
Number 9, Auburn.
Okay.
Number 8, USC.
Okay.
Where it says they're similar to Miami and Texas in their historical success and allure of the program in a major market with high expectations. The belief of their ability to quickly return to national dominance is often present even during rebuilding phases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue that.
Number 7 is Penn State.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the number 5. In the top 5, I'll give the rundown on because this is eerily close to yours. Number 5 was Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Passionate fan base remembers the history of national championships and expects a return to that level. Despite coaching changes and struggles, the belief their imminent resurgence remains strong for many. Number 4, Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Following the 2013 national championship, some fans maintain expectations of being perennial national power, sometimes before consistently dominating in their own conference again. Number 3, Miami.
Mm-hmm.
The echoes of their dominant past fuel expectations of a swift return to national prominence. This often leads to overlooking the current state of the program and time needed for rebuilding. Number 2, Notre Dame. Almost exactly what Grok said.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 1 is Texas.
Yeah. Again, I stayed away from Texas just because of
they're back.
Not just that. There was the they beat themselves over the head with "we're not good" publicly.
Yeah.
Now, when they did do the thing and they said they were back at the end of a season, yeah, but throughout the year, there was always we always shoot ourselves in the foot. We're not the Texas of old.
Yeah.
That's why I stayed away from them.
Yeah.
Because there was that what's the what was that Tom Hanks movie? The big book, Catholic Church. What the hell's the name?
Bible?
The Celestine Prophecy?
No.
The big book with the Catholic Church, the Bible.
No. The
Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code.
There we go. Thank you.
Remember Paul Bettany's character? I can never remember what it's called. He wore the things around his legs, the self-chastisement.
Yeah.
Like that.
The monk guy?
Yeah, that felt like Texas fans.
Yeah.
Like they were always self-inflicted harm for sins committed.
Yeah.
Like even though they would get loud and yappy about it, they also were it's like self-inflicted pain of we're not actually back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's a team like Penn State for me was a team that I was just you haven't done anything.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
You're not you keep walking up to the blue blood table. It's no,
you're not.
No, you're not at this table.
No, you're not. And
you're very close, but you're not at this table.
No. And what I find interesting is that out west, we obviously talk Oregon, Washington, USC, and we put them in that, all three of them in that you're delusional category, right? What I find interesting when you get AI, this is taking every corner of the internet, right? And I think it just goes to show that outside of the West Coast, people really don't care about those three schools.
No, they don't. No.
I mean,
it just means more.
Yeah. And out here, we're I think if you were to put this top 5 list together, I think a lot of fans would put all three of those schools in either the top 5 or the top 10.
Yes, 100%.
Because of
it
our
depends
regional
on
bias.
where you take the poll at.
And we're all in our own kitchen,
yes,
right?
100%.
Everybody is in their own kitchen. But the reality is the wide scope of it is I think it shows that all three of those programs are healthy fan bases in that they have expectations and they believe their team is going to live up to them. Every single one of those teams that is making these top 10 lists or top 5 lists are ones that, yeah, we want to say they're living in the glory days and it's a what can you do for me now? Reality is the what can you do for me now is a very short list of teams that have won national titles. And it's Alabama, it's Clemson, it's Ohio State, and it's Michigan, right? LSU's been thrown in there too, right? In Georgia, yeah. I mean, you look at that, it's like 6, and we can go back a decade.
Yeah.
Go back a decade, right? It's really damn hard to win a national title.
That's the thing is,
and there's very few that have
the last
that as
team to win a
expectations.
national title in those 3 is 20 years ago.
20 years. Yeah. And you've had the other 2 have played for it. And that's where that healthy delusion comes from a fan base.
I'm as big as a USC sycophant as there is. Going into last year, how many wins did I say they would get?
You said 8. Yeah. Yeah. It is. I think there's also a reality here.
Yeah.
But once any of these teams, and this is
show anything,
but it's fandom.
Yes.
That's what fandom is that you say, nope, finally. I can
Look,
puff my chest
I did
out.
when Caleb came to USC.
Yeah.
And they were that team. And I thought they would keep that momentum going. And boy, did they not.
They sure didn't.
They face planted.
Look at AI. You know, everybody's talking about like AI is going to be the downfall of the world. It's solving the questions that we need answered, though, and I think that was one of the first ones.
Is AI providing the answer?
Yeah. Oh, should I ask?
Alan Iverson?
Anyone?
Yeah, no, I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
Well, I'm posing the question.
No.
Which was his first shoe.
The good shoe.
Yeah, that was a great shoe.
that
You see Reebok is making that into a golf shoe?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, they saw all the money that everybody was getting for the Jordans. Look, I bought a pair. They're so freaking comfortable.
I can't wait to get blisters in those shoes. It's gonna be awesome.
But you look good.
It'll be great. It'll be great. All right, I'm gonna ask Gemini really quick here. Will the Portland Trailblazers ever win an NBA title?
Ooh, I don't think you want to like. My wife and I are watching that show, The Wheel of Time.
How about will the Portland Trailblazers win an NBA title? Should I put a time frame on it or ever?
Let's go 10 years, just so we're not going too far.
Okay, in the next.
But there's a
Because
character.
that'll probably tell us like in the year 3142.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the show Wheel of Time, there's
You're
a
gonna
person that
die.
has visions of the future, and they all like come true. It's like she can see their deaths. And my wife asked me last night, if you had somebody who could tell you your future, would you want to know it? I was like, absolutely not. No.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely not.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Is this a Magic 8-Ball situation where results are unclear?
Buddy, no. Gemini gave me an entire path to the Blazers winning an NBA title in the next 10 years.
Oh, print it out, put it up on the wall, baby.
Yeah. It's.
Do we need to get this on at the 45?
I think we should.
Okay.
We need to revisit
Okay,
this.
no, we'll
because it legitimately has. It has a current situation.
Let's print it out and then mark it down, man. Let's walk through it. I like
path
this.
to contention and championship, and then likelihood in the next 10 years.
Okay,
and then it gives me a conclusion. Oh boy.
Okay, yeah, no, we're gonna have to dive into this.
Oh boy.
All right, coming up next though, we do have our worst day on the web.
What the hell am I doing?
Look, man, Florida just keeps giving and giving and giving and giving, and just stay safe out there if you're in Florida. But first, here's the Big Canoe Sports Center update.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers in Chicago on the second night of a back-to-back to face the Bulls. 5 o'clock tip on KUNP, that's Xfinity Channel 302 or 2.2 on your antenna. DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Robert Williams III are all out. Jeremy Grant doubtful. Meanwhile, Tumani Kamara, Duop Reith, Anthony Simons are questionable. The Blazers are 6-point dogs. The Mariners start a weekend trip to San Francisco this afternoon against the Giants. Luis F. Castillo starting for Seattle. Justin Verlander for San Francisco. First pitch coming up momentarily on Root Sports. And round 2 of the Valero Texas Open from TPC San Antonio. Kashmir Keith Mitchell. Even par through the day, even par on the day through 5 holes now. He remains at 8 under par alongside Brian Harmon. They are 1 stroke clear of Sam Ryder and Matt Wallace. And on the ice, up 3 games to 1, the Winterhawks a chance to clinch the series against Prince George tonight at the VMC. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
It was a December to remember at Legends Casino Hotel as all-time great Roy Jones Jr.
It's time for today's worst day on the web with Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
If we did a map for all of the things that we talk about on Worst Day on the Web, there would just be 1,000 pins in the state of Florida.
Yeah,
it's truly incredible. I don't go looking for this.
Yeah, that shot chart would be pretty solid.
It's the paint. Like Florida is driving to the rim. Like that's what this is. Okay, it's a lot of frequency, a lot of finishing, and I don't go looking for this. It just is. This one, a self-proclaimed doctor, and anytime you're using doctor in air quotes, you're in for a little bit of a ride.
What is it, Dr. Nick? Hi, everybody.
Yeah, basically. Self-proclaimed doctor, again, air quotes, who performed surgeries in Florida wasn't licensed.
Yeah. I think they...
Think about that for a second. Not a guy like, coming in and maybe doing a little bit of medical work, but like cutting you open.
Yeah. I think that my first giveaway was he had a box cutter.
Okay, so this guy, not doctor, Wilson Munoz Suarez, known to patients as Dr. Wilson Munoz, advertised cosmetic surgery procedures and medical supplements on social media and his website. And he's pictured smiling medical scrubs, touting his more than 25 years of transforming lives. He worked at a surgical center in the Little Havana neighborhood. The complaint ended up being filed because a patient was having complications with her surgery, and they didn't make clear what kind of cosmetic surgery it was. But I'm guessing it's a one-way state of consent to be recorded in Florida, because she got him on tape saying, yeah, it was me that did the surgery. Well, apparently she did some background checking, and, well, he's not licensed. In his About Me section, it says he's done a couple of things, and he's known internationally for procedures that he's done, like in Colombia and stuff like that. But nowhere does it say he's medically licensed as a doctor or a surgeon anywhere.
Wait a minute. He said, okay.
He began his career in medicine. This is what the website says on it was About Us in 1999, but there's no information linking to any sort of medical degree. In the About Me section, he's achieved great recognition throughout the national territory.
Wait a minute. So hold on. This guy's cutting people up. In his About Me, he's Colombian. He's done Colombian. Cut people open. Colombian
Venezuela
style?
And the rest of Latin America, including Colombia and Panama.
So we're going Colombian necktie. He's known for the Colombian necktie here. Yeah. Jeez Louise.
Just think about that. Like, how? Dude's been doing this for 25 years?
Well, I think... Okay. What it takes is whoever's running that clinic to be like, okay, sure.
Like, you didn't ask for medical degree or credentials, or
apparently not.
Like,
apparently that, and that's where this starts. It's one person not doing their job. That's how we get to Dr. Nick.
Yeah,
cutting people open.
And look, there's you see all of the social media videos of the Turkish airports.
Yeah,
it's nothing but balding men with all these dots on their head that have
bandaged up on their dome.
Well, but here's the thing: it's like, number one, 10 times cheaper, and like they've made it very clear that this is the thing they're gonna do, and so they bring in experts, and it's like, I know people have gone to Mexico for surgeries and saved tens of thousands of dollars, and been totally fine because they can't have this happen and have people not coming there because it becomes a big part of their economy.
Brother, I was on the bus, going from one terminal to the next at the San Diego airport, and there were no less than, of the 20 people that were on this bus, I'll say just shy of half of them, about 8 or 9.
Were they going to get dental work?
They either had gauze packed in their mouth or they had like their mouths wrapped up because they went down to Tijuana for dental work. Yeah. Like almost half of the bus went down to Mexico to go get dental work.
And it's not immigrants, it's normal everyday people because it's so much cheaper.
And I asked the lady, I was like, what's going on here? And one of the ladies goes, it's cheaper for me to fly from, and I think she was coming from Seattle, maybe. She's like, it's cheaper for me to fly from Seattle to San Diego than go to Tijuana and get the work done than it is for me to go to a dentist in Seattle. I was like,
it's like a procedure from anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000.
Aggressive.
Well, I mean, you can go to Mexico and get veneers. That's what a lot of these people. A lot of people are going to Mexico to get veneers done.
Dang.
And they go to the resort towns that have all the American money that the military's protecting and all that kind of stuff because they don't want anybody messing around with it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. There's certain countries around the world that specialize in certain surgeries. I mean, the BBL comes from Brazil.
Yeah, the Brazilian butt lift. Let's go. Text on the fan text line. I could probably figure it out. How hard could it be? that doctor probably. Yeah, he's like.
I mean, if you watch a few of those like YouTube videos of like, I'm sick. I went and watched hip replacement when I was going to do hip replacement before my other surgery.
That's the last thing I would do before going in to get one.
Yeah, but
that's you.
I watched it. I'm like, I did have that feeling of like, that doesn't seem that hard, because like I don't think people generally understand, like, for a lot of like those kind of surgeries, and not brain surgery, not heart surgery, but like a hip replacement surgery, it is a very like, or getting your wisdom teeth removed. It is not this delicate process. I woke up to my wisdom teeth being removed when I was in the Air Force, off base. This is not on base. The dentist had a hammer and chisel in my mouth and his foot on my chest like a freaking miner.
Just going.
Just hammering away.
Yeah, they had to cut away parts of the bone in my bottom jaw to get mine out.
It's not a gentle, delicate procedure. They just break that stuff up.
And by they, that was my dad.
Bet you clean your room.
I didn't even need my wisdom teeth out.
Yeah. He's like, no. You violate curfew again, Jeff.
But like, I watched the hip replacement. They literally zipper you up. Like it's not like a very delicate knife. They just cut you open like a fish.
Yeah.
Take a hacksaw to your bone, rip the top half of your femur out, drill it out, and then a machine does the rest.
Yeah, that's always like an alarming
like,
thing when you
whoa.
go in for a surgery and you're like, they bust out like the Sharpie and they write no on your good. Like on my ankle, when I had my ankle surgery, they wrote no on my good leg and then yes. I'm like, oh, you couldn't tell by the fact that it's like black and blue and all mangled up. Okay. But hey, they need it.
And they do 5 checks. What are you having operated on? And they have you sign the paper before they give you the drugs. You sign 5 pieces of paper. And then right before they wheel you in again, what do you haven't worked on?
Yeah.
And by that time, the first painkiller's hit, and you're like, make the L's with your hands. This side.
Text.
This side.
It's not that hard. Danny ends up with 2 left hips.
I mean,
yeah,
you get the reused
Well,
one.
this is a real story. Texture says maybe it's the same doctor that did my mom's cataract surgery on the wrong eye and just said, oh well.
Yeah, you can't draw on the eye. Do you draw on the eyelid?
You just go underneath.
Yeah, on the face?
Yeah. Like maybe you do the teardrop.
Yeah, the little prison teardrop tattoo.
That's the one we're operating on there.
Fantastic stuff. Absolutely love it. No notes. But you have notes. We ran the path to success for the Portland Trailblazers through AI. We're an AI generated show today.
Well, no, AI answered the question of most delusional fan base in college football. So it's a question all Blazer fans want to know.
And it gave us a very thorough answer.
Well, you're not kidding.
There's a lot there.
I mean, it gave a path for contention.
Yeah, we'll dive in that next here, Danny Dusty, Today the Fan. Well, Dusty had the 10 most unserious fan bases in college football.
Yeah, man.
Generated by AI.
Delusional.
He was like, you know what? I wonder what happens if I run this through for the Portland Trailblazers. We put a timeline on it.
Yeah.
Next 10 years. The
Yeah.
likelihood of the Trailblazers winning a title in the next 10 years. And it spit out a pretty detailed path. Not like every touchstone, but it did hit on a lot.
Well, Jeff Russ printed it out. It's a full page. It is a full page of information on the Blazers. And it goes through things like where they're at right now, their current situation, and breaks down the roster. And it actually did a pretty good job.
If you're looking, if you gave this to an alien trying to understand where the Portland Trailblazers were, it does a pretty good like synopsis of like where they are.
I mean, it started with the Blazers are currently rebuilding phase after the departure of Damian Lillard. Their focus is on developing their young core, and it mentions Scoot, Shaden, Simons, Denny, two in Klingon, and it kind of goes down and says their age, position, and their strongest trait, right?
Yeah.
Then it says they have veterans like Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton who could be trade assets as this team continues to rebuild. That's actually true.
Yep.
It says they have draft capital in picks that they could use down the line or trade for established players. And then goes through that they are plus 200,000 to win the NBA title.
Then it says that they're
Right.
showing improvement, but not currently a playoff contender.
This is where it gets interesting though, because it goes to path to contention and likelihood of them actually winning in the next 2 years. And this is where I want to bounce this off of you. It says developing star talent. The Blazers need their young players to develop into all-star caliber players. Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp have shown flashes of this potential.
Okay.
I've got questions on that, but strategic drafting and player development. They need to continue drafting well and developing players effectively.
Which is effectively saying that they have done well in the draft.
Acquiring more talent. This could be tough through future drafts, trades, or free agency. Identifying and acquiring players to complement their young core is crucial. Duh. Coaching and chemistry. This is kind of one of those ones where is this kind of saying they need a new coaching staff. They say a strong coaching staff and good team chemistry are essential for championship caliber team.
Yep.
All right. Health and luck. You need to stay healthy, and a little luck in the health department is needed. And then the strength of other teams in their league will play a significant role. The Western Conference is currently very competitive. So likelihood of winning in the next 3 to 4 years. The focus will be continued on development of the young core, accumulating talent, and establishing consistent winning culture. Playoff contention might be the goal in this period, but a championship is a long shot. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Yeah, next 3 to 4 years, unless you got a massive infusion of talent. Yeah, I agree.
Mid-period, 4 to 7 years. If their young players develop as hoped, they start making some smart acquisitions, the Blazers could potentially become a strong playoff team and even a dark horse contender in 4 to 7 years.
I think the windows on this are a little more skewed than reality, but otherwise I agree.
7 to 10 years. If everything aligns well, the young core reaching their prime and the team built into a cohesive unit with the right supporting pieces, a championship could be realistic in this time frame.
Yeah, sure.
Their conclusion is, while the Blazers have a young, promising talent and a path to improvement, winning an NBA championship in the next 10 years is a challenging goal. It will require significant development of their young players, smart team building, and navigating competitive league. It certainly is within the realm of possibility, but it's far from a certainty at this point in their rebuild.
Yeah. The only disagreement I really have with this is the windows.
Yeah.
Because I think we look at windows a lot larger than they actually are.
Yeah.
And not just for winning, but for team building. If I had told you, that Jimmy Butler was going to be available for trade 2 years ago when he's taking the Miami Heat to the NBA Finals, would you have believed it?
That Jimmy Butler was
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe Jimmy's a bad example.
I was going to say, I mean, we've seen him piggyback some really bad teams.
Luka.
With that team last year, no, I wouldn't have thought it.
And that's the thing is like windows can change drastically.
Yeah.
And that impact that it has because you have no ability to alter that of, somebody getting injured or a big trade happening or a player that like SGA going from a guy that everybody thought was going to be really pretty good. Like he would make maybe a couple All-Star. Like after year 2, everybody's like, he's got some juice. Nobody saw him being an MVP candidate. Nobody.
No.
If they're telling you otherwise, they're lying through their teeth.
Well, I mean, like, just look at the guys who are stars in the league right now, whether it is Giannis, Jokic, SGA,
Mhm.
I mean, those guys were all drafted outside of the top 10. Giannis was
No.
Giannis was 13.
Yeah.
All of them outside the top 10. So yes, that it is very.
Steph was the third point guard taken in his draft.
Yeah. All
The
right.
Timberwolves took 2 point guards ahead of him.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So
Like,
Con
it's-
Knippel will be
There you
the
go.
best player in the league.
But other than that, yeah, I think this does a pretty solid job of kind of
Explaining how hard it is.
Yeah.
But we've been trying to do that for some years.
Yeah.
And
the one that should have like the big giant bold letters on it. Luck.
That's the way the Blazers made the Western Conference Finals with Damian Lillard. Is an insane amount of injury luck. Not for them, but
Yeah.
for the other teams that it went against.
Rick Adelman was adamant when they brought them the guys back the other night for the remembering that era of the 90s Blazers, that they were better the next year and they screwed up against the Lakers in the first round.
Yeah.
Like he was like, that was a better team. Bill Walton gets hurt in 78. That was a better team. Were they 50-12 when he went down?
I
Something
don't
like that. They
remember.
were insanely good when he went down.
That's crazy.
Like, luck plays such a massive, massive part of this. A coin toss in the Jordan Bowie Hakeem draft.
Yeah.
Like, luck.
Yeah.
So much of this is luck. But other than that,
One ping pong
I think
ball
it
from
does.
Wemby.
I think it does do a pretty good job of summing it up. So.
Yeah. So if you're wondering, AI told us that don't hold your breath on a Blazers championship in the next decade. I mean, which is pretty fair, seeing that we're creeping up on
55 years.
Yeah. Well, no, 77. We're we are creeping up on 50 years.
Yeah.
We're at 48 years now. It's a long time.
I was
dude.
trying to think of the length of the organization.
Yeah.
They've won in
That's
55 years, yeah.
That's a really, really long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So in 10 years, let's not get over our skis here.
Yeah, we're measuring in half centuries, not decades.
Man.
So they're due.
Yeah. All right.
They had 1 in 50. They'll have another 1 in 50 somewhere in the next 50 years.
If that makes us feel better,
there you go. That's the math right now.
All right.
So, all right, coming up next in hour number 3.
Thanks, AI.
We're going to dive into the world of college basketball. The award season is here, and it's not really surprising on one end, but college basketball did a little something weird too. We'll get to that next year in hour number 3 on Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan.
I might
George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. A Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers are in Chicago on night 2 of a back-to-back to face the Bulls. 5 o'clock tip on KUNP, Xfinity Channel 302 or 2.2 on your antenna. DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Robert Williams III all out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Tumani Kamara, Duop Reith, and Anthony Simons are questionable. The Blazers are 6-point underdogs. Over in the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting former Cowboys and 49ers quarterback Trey Lance signing a one-year deal worth up to $6.2 million with the Chargers to back up Justin Herbert. The Mariners start a weekend trip to San Francisco this afternoon against the Giants. Currently underway. They're headed to the bottom of the second. It is tied up at 1. Julio Rodriguez with a solo shot for the M's in the top of the first. And then in the bottom half of the inning, Matt Chapman followed that up with an RBI infield single. We'll go to round 2 of the Valero Texas Open from TPC San Antonio. Brian Harmon all alone at the top of the leaderboard. He is 4 under through 10 on the day, 10 under overall. Kashmir Keith Mitchell 1 stroke back at 9 under par. And then Sam Ryder and Matt Wallace 3 strokes off the pace, tied for third at 7 under. And on the ice, up 3-1, the Winterhawks with a shot to clinch the series against Prince George tonight at the VMC. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan hoodie, as well as classic long and short sleeve tees. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com.
Portland, if you've ever wondered where to get your Blazers, Ducks, and Beavs, it's right here on the airwaves of 1080. 1080 The Fan with Danny and Dusty. It's Danny and Dusty and Rust from noon till 3.
Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty on a Friday afternoon. Whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 in the fan, twitch.tv/1080 in the fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us on this wonderful, wonderful, gloriously sunny Friday.
Very nice weekend.
Get that yard work done. Don't let it pile up.
Perfect.
Don't let it pile up.
Yeah.
You got to if you don't do it tomorrow, it's going to get bad.
I got like all these ideas of like going to watch Hops baseball. You know, it's right near my house. Just go down and watch some ball. Nice.
You can stagger. You don't have a backyard.
No, it's turfed.
Yeah.
Well, I got to deal with the front yard, but I got a lot of bushes and
I think I'd
stuff.
kill for that now.
It's great. Game changer.
Look, every time I let the dogs out of the last couple of nights, I look at the grass and I go, oof, that's going to suck.
Can't do it with pets, though. Can't do it with dogs.
Yeah.
You know, they'll ruin the turf. It is nice, though. You can just tell kids, like, go outside. They're like, it's raining. It's like, you're not going to get muddy.
Yeah.
Go. Get out of here.
We'll hose you off.
Yeah. Well, that's what the rain does.
Yeah.
They don't need to
That's
get hosed
true,
off.
yeah.
It's turf.
Yeah.
They just go and kid stuff.
Do you just brush the leaves?
Yeah, you can still rake it.
Well, no, but I'm saying, is there any difference? Do you still rake it, or do you okay?
Yeah, you rake the leaves up.
Okay.
Yeah, you just don't mow it. It's perfect. You still rake it.
If I saw somebody out there mowing their turf yard, I would have so many questions.
Yeah, my wife has actually done that before. Put the blade up really high when we have like a lot of leaves come down, and just goes over and
just kind of mulches it.
Basically vacuums it all up.
So say, is that before or after you go vacuum the driveway?
That's basically what we do with the yeah. So it works.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever got that far. All right. College basketball. A couple awards handed out already. The one that everybody saw coming. Cooper Flagg named the National Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer right there. And look, he's going to be named Naismith National Player of the Year.
He's going to switch
This was
awards.
the AP National Player of the Year. And it's more than deserving. I don't think you can turn on a basketball game, watch him, and say that's not the best player in college basketball. Pretty simple.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but now he has the chance to do what only one other guy has done. To be that guy and win the national title.
Yeah, Anthony Davis, the only other guy to do it, you know? Pretty nuts to think about. I think if, in retrospect, if it wasn't a one-and-done culture and era, Carmelo would have been the same guy.
Yeah.
He would have done the exact same thing, but they were still giving it to 4-year players and guys that had paid their dues. And Melo
KD was the
one and
first.
done. Yeah,
KD was
the
the first freshman to get the National Player of the Year treatment.
So we're saying that the comps will be either Kevin Durant if he doesn't win a national title, or Anthony Davis if he does. Okay, yeah. I think that's pretty good company that he's going to be in that Cooper Flag.
He's already starting the Hall of Fame path pretty quickly.
That's wild. We're talking about. He turned 18 in December.
Kind of crazy.
I wonder if he's going to get chosen one tattooed across his back anytime soon.
I think Coop is going to there's going to go one of two paths. He is either going to have like the mid-career, I'm going to do a very bad tattoo like Jason Tatum, where it was God's swill.
Or Darren Williams. Darren Williams came into the league with the Panther.
Oh, yeah.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
Tatted up Coop would be something.
But I think he's looking at it from the endorsement standpoint of, if I'm the clean-cut white boy, I can make a killing.
Yeah.
And he will.
So it'll be like a jersey pattern of just him being tatted on his torso. Yeah, okay. All right, I'm here for it.
Go like full like Russian prison tattoos.
Yes.
I'd love that. Full John Wick.
Yeah. Yes. Cooper Flag, do it.
Something else happened today in the awards world, and I don't like it. There was a Coach of the Year. And I don't like it. They went with Bruce Pearl and Rick Pitino.
It was a literal tie in the voting, though. Split right down the middle.
I don't like it.
They should have an odd number of voters
Yes.
for that reason.
Just so it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't think you could pick wrong with either one of those. Just pick one. It's like the MVP voting in the NBA this year. Look, I'm a Jokic guy, but if you say you're an SGA guy, fine. But just pick one.
Yeah. That is deserving for both Bruce Pearl
Yes.
and Rick Pitino, because both of them are doing it in the current era. I know the history of St. John's basketball, but
And Rick Pitino.
they are not at traditional powers, right? And they cultivated, developed, and coached the hell out of rosters to get those two teams as two of the best teams in college basketball. For Auburn, Bruce Pearl got that school the number 1 overall seed in this tournament. For Rick Pitino, he got St. John's 8 to a 2 seed, which if you were to rewind this a decade, you'd say that's damn near impossible for Rick Pitino or anybody else to do at St. John's. He did it, and they were humming this season. I don't like the tie either. I think if I was going to give it to anybody, though, I wonder why Todd Golden wasn't in this. Actually, I do know why Todd Golden wasn't in it. It's because of everything that the investigation that he was cleared
Shire
for.
or Sampson.
Yeah. These coaches have all done a hell of a job.
Yeah. And like you look at the Elite Eight and going into that group, I was like, any one of these coaches has a legitimate claim for Coach of the Year.
Yeah. But I want to say, over the last couple of years, hasn't Kelvin Sampson won it? That doesn't mean that you don't give it to the guy again this year.
Which, I mean, that's part of the thing that plays into awards. And I hate that. It's either you did or you didn't.
Yeah.
I don't care about.
Yeah. Kelvin Sampson last year, Coach of the Year when they were the number 1 overall seed. Yeah. So.
And he came back and did it again.
And they're in the
Final Four.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah. I don't know. His coaching path is so weird now that I'm looking at his Michigan State GA to an assistant at Montana Tech.
Big time basketball program.
And then became the head coach at Montana Tech, an NAIA school in Butte, Montana.
Did you like Butte, Montana?
I hate Butte, Montana.
That's kind of an armpit.
And I hate Montana Tech. The ore diggers. Backwoods hillbillies.
That's what Jeff Rust is at 2:30.
And then he went to Washington State as an assistant, Washington State head coach, Oklahoma, Indiana, and then the wheels fall off and he goes and is an assistant in the NBA for the Bucks and Rockets and now University of Houston. That is a path, man.
Yeah, his coaching record, 797 and 354. He has a 69% nice winning percentage.
That's pretty good.
He wins nearly 70% of his games.
That's weird.
That's crazy. Shire's numbers. Shire's numbers are bonkers, man. Again, I know the talent and all that kind of stuff, but still, look, just because you're at a blue blood or at like elite blue blood doesn't mean it's going to go that well. See,
I love Duke.
There you go. See Davis Hubert.
Yeah.
Not
Davis Hubert.
Yeah.
That could be a name too.
Yeah, it could be. But Hubert Davis isn't going through the winning of it all the time. It's been some up and down years in North Carolina.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's been a roller coaster, dude. Following the legend is not easy.
No.
And we've talked about this before, but like Coach K actually getting out of the way.
And being not present has been a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Like the camera pans to him in games and he's wearing his West Point jacket, not his Duke stuff. He's kind of in the shadows. It's like, good.
If Shire wins a title,
K can't go down
Coach
the floor.
K
Can't.
is going to be stewing. He is going to be so pissed.
After
You
his-
cannot
After his
convince
team let him
me-
down to North Carolina twice.
Yeah. You cannot convince me that Mike Krzyzewski, the competitor that he is, the person that he is going to be happy with John Shire winning that title. Like he'll say all the right things. No, I don't think he's going to be happy.
I hate John.
He's going to go. It's just like when a team beats him in the tournament and he goes in and he congratulates the other team for playing a really tough game, where it's like, that was nice.
Yeah.
You know, like that was great. But, you know, he walked out of that room
Stewing.
MFing his own guys, himself, everybody else. There's no way. No,
God, no.
way he's going to be thrilled about that.
Not at all. Well, speaking of things people are not thrilled about or thrilled about,
Yeah.
Fulton Trailblazers won a game last night. They beat the Toronto Raptors. You went out taking them. Is there anything to take away from that game and going into the final last push of the season? We'll get that next year on Danny and Dusty, Tim the Fan.
The Portland Trailblazers took on the Toronto Raptors north of the border last night in a game that the Raptors had no interest in winning. The Blazers, I mean, they kind of went like, oh, you want to get cheeky? We can get cheeky. Unfortunately, it's because they suffered a couple of minor injuries to both Duop Reith and Toumani Camara. Both left the game. Wap with a knee injury, two with an ankle injury. You saw it if you watched the game last night. Rolled the ankle pretty
Don't
clearly.
like it.
Two's playing. He's not going to not play until he's forced out hard. And even then, they're going to have to pull him kicking and screaming.
And they got Chicago tonight on the second of a back-to-back where you have to get – it's not just leaving Canada. Like, this is actually the thing.
Customs.
You have to go through customs, and it's a check. And for them on a private plane, it's not nearly as invasive.
Still a pain.
It just can be a pain in the ass to get back into the country.
And again, they're leaving late last night.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get out of that arena. By the way, quick nod. The Raptors threw their old court down with their throwback jerseys, and God, it was great. One minor quibble.
Mm-hmm.
They put a yellow outline, like a neon yellow outline around the Raptor, and they made the basketball yellow because they made the floor, like this weird, not quite basketball orange, but like this off-tinted orange.
Right.
And so they couldn't put an orange basketball in the Raptors' hands because there's two different ones. There's the one with the white and black basketball in the Raptors' hands, and there's one where it's orange. And the one where it's orange to me is the one that really pops. But the white and black one's okay. But they did it yellow, and it just looked weird.
Hot court talk. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
But I mean, look, that logo floor jersey combo, one of the best in the league. I think the Blazers, when they go back to the Memorial Coliseum, white paint with the red top of the key.
I love that.
And the throwback vertical lowercase text. It's one of the best, if not the best, matching court jersey combos in the NBA. It's
good look.
so good.
Good look.
Speaking of so good, look, we just talk about Denny being good. Denny had another 25, 15, and 5 last night. He finished the night 26, 15, and 6.
On 50% shooting from the field.
Yeah, just it's become normal.
Yeah.
He's ho-hum
really well.
A ho-hum 26, 15, and 5.
He's playing really
like,
stinking well.
Okay, dude. But Shaedon Sharpe has put together back-to-back 30-point nights, and last night you saw a Shaedon Sharpe that was confident and aggressive in almost everything he did. Finishes 4 of 10 from 3, which there was maybe 1 3 on the entire night that I'll quibble with. He had a step-back 3 that he went into. Beautiful. And it wasn't a step back because, I guess I got to go a step back. He set him up. He drove hard right-hand drive, defender 45 to take it away. Shaedon puts his shoulder in his chest, and you could see it all develop. And he creates the separation, gets back under control in the step back, gets his feet back underneath him, elevates, cash. And I was like, oh, that wasn't a step back for step back's sake. That was, I'm setting you up for the shot on the first dribble.
Well, and I think one thing that is impressive about what we're seeing from Shaedon is that he's starting to figure out tempo creates space, right? And he's mixing that up over the course of a game, and that's where you see that kind of next step in ball handlers and ball dominant guards, right? Is when you know when to put your foot on the gas and when you need to create on your own using different variations of speed. It's a tough thing, and it takes a really long time, especially in the NBA, when you have different defenders who are going to attack you different ways. You saw that last night with Shaedon. Now, again, Raptors, not good at basketball, trying not to win basketball
But you know what you do to those teams? You pummel them. And that's what Shaedon Sharpe did. So he finishes the night 4 of 10 from 3, 14 of 23 from the field. So you do the math there. That means he's 10 of 14 from 2. One of those 2s was a 3 that he missed where his toe was on the line.
Okay.
So inside the 3-point line on
Worst shot in
shots,
basketball.
Yeah, on shots that you expect him to take, he was 10 of 13 on 2s. And like his ability to, unless your last name is Morant, Rose, or Westbrook, you got to have gears. Because those guys are so fast, so twitchy, so quick, it didn't matter. They could just get by you.
Well, Russell Westbrook fast enough to blow a potentially game-clinching lay-in.
Twice in a row.
Yeah.
Did you see that? He did it the other night, too. After doing it against
Timberwolves,
Minnesota, he did it again the next game.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, no! What are you doing? But like those guys for 10 years, didn't matter what gears they had. They're just going to get by you. Shaedon is... For all of Shaedon's athleticism, his first step is not, and again, this is me saying this. Like, I'm not saying, oh, God. it's not elite.
Yeah.
But what he has gotten better at beyond changing gears, it's a very subtle thing, but it's very reminiscent of when we talk about this with football. Low man wins. Watch him drive. He has started getting this forward bend where he gets down low and gets his shoulders past guys. And it's almost like a running back getting through the hole of getting through the wash, getting low and keeping his balance and using that to turn the corner.
Now, this is like a little bit of pushback to what you say about minutes don't mean development. That's what we're seeing with Shaden, though. Minutes are meaning development with him.
And I'll follow up on that. When Shaden Sharp was asked, what has been the biggest difference? You know what he said last night?
Playing basketball?
Watching basketball.
Oh.
Me and my trainer, Francis, have been watching so much tape. I understand what teams are trying to do to me and what I need to do to beat them.
That's good to hear.
Like, that is, if you want Shaden Sharp to succeed, that is the number one thing you want to hear out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't a tape guy. And this isn't the Shaden thing.
Well, why would he be a tape guy when he hasn't played since high school?
But most guys don't come in the league, number one, watching tape, knowing how to watch tape and how much and what to watch for. That's probably the biggest off-court development for young guys. When you're not talking about behavioral or maturity stuff, the biggest soft skill, the freaks that watch the most tape.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Shaden is becoming a film dude. Good. And you're seeing it translate. That's why I call that step back. That wasn't him like, oh, I'm going to go to this move now. It was, I know what this guy's going to try to do to me. So you know what my counter is? I know he's going to be on his heels. I'm going to get him even more on his heels, knock him off balance, and I'm going to get to the shot. That is the mental process stuff. But to your point, the reps help.
Yep.
It reinforces what he's seeing.
Yeah. He has not played basketball.
No. We've documented this so many times. He lost a year at Kentucky. He lost COVID. He lost 60 games last year with the injury.
Brutal.
It's just he hasn't had the reps. But now, and this is the thing I always say. It's not time. It's good reps. He's getting good reps, and Chauncey Billups is rewarding him. Now, the injuries are putting the ball more in his hand.
Yep.
But, again, the March, April basketball of it all, I'm always going to have a little bit of a squint towards. But if you get the opportunities and you go and deliver like this over and over and over again,
maximize them.
It's something. So, all right, coming up next, it's 2:30-ish on a Friday afternoon, which means it's time for Jeff Russ. We'll get to that next. But first, here's the Big Canoe himself with the Sports Center Update.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers in Chicago on the second night of a back-to-back. They will face the Bulls this evening. 5 o'clock tip on KUNP, Xfinity Channel 302 or 2.2 on your antenna. No DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, or Robert Williams III. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Tumani Kamara, Duop Reith, Anthony Simons are questionable. The Blazers are 6-point underdogs. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting former Cowboys and Niners quarterback Trey Lance signing a one-year deal worth up to $6.2 million with the Chargers to back up Justin Herbert. Mariners starting a weekend trip to San Francisco this afternoon against the Giants. It is the top of the third. They now trail the G-Men 3-1. Julio Rodriguez started the scoring in the top of the first with a solo shot. Then the second half of that inning, Matt Chapman knocked in an RBI infield single. In the bottom of the second, Lamont Wade Jr. with a 2-run double. It's round 2 of the Valero Texas Open from TPC San Antonio. Brian Harmon, 5 under through 11 on the day. He is at 11 under overall. That is now 2 strokes clear of Kashmir Keith Mitchell. Sam Ryder and Matt Wallace are 4 strokes off the pace at 7 under par. And on the ice, up 3-1, the Winterhawks, a chance to clinch the series against Prince George tonight at the VMC. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
It's Friday afternoon. It's 2:30-ish, which means it's time for Jeff Rust, America's favorite top flight game show. Jeff Rust, what do you got for us today?
I'm not sure if you guys are aware. There's some basketball coming up this weekend at the collegiate level.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, we're down
the Crown.
Yes, we are down to our last. Yes, the Crown.
Oh.
Down to our last Fantastic Four starting tomorrow afternoon. Tipping at 3:09 on CBS. Florida, 2.5-point favorite over Auburn and Bruce Pearl. Janai Broom says he's good to go, but we'll see how healthy he actually is. So against the spread, remember that is 2.5. Who you got? Florida or Auburn?
I'm going to take Florida. Florida was my national title pick, not knowing if Cooper Flagg was going to be healthy going into the tournament. I think Florida and Duke are the two best teams in the country. Even if Broom's 100%, I still think Florida has just enough more to outlast them.
I'm going with Florida just because Janai Broom. Janai Broom and his injury questions, they loom large. And if Florida can just get physical with him and neutralize a guy who has a shoulder,
a knee,
elbow,
and an elbow.
Like, that's tough to recover from in 1 week.
My man's going to look like Kurt Rambis on that court.
Yeah, he is.
All taped up.
Then at 5:49 tomorrow evening, also on CBS, Duke, 5.5-point favorites against Kelvin Sampson and Houston. Cooper Flagg looking pretty good after turning an ankle in the ACC quarterfinals. He's averaging 19.5 points on 43% from three, along with 7.8 boards, 5.3 assists, and just under 2 blocks in this NCAA tournament. So against the spread, again, 5.5. Who you got, Duke or Houston?
I'm going with the diaper dandy. Ugh. I'm going with Duke. He's a PTP, a primetime player.
19-8-5-2.
I love Dickie V. Glad to hear he's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The thing about this that's surprising to me is 5.5. That may not sound like that much. You're talking about a game whose over-under line is 136.5. It is a 23-point difference between their game and the other game. 5.5 in this game is 10.5 in the other game.
Yeah, that is a 5-point lead is insurmountable in a game that has an over-under of 136.5. Like, if you're like, Duke's up by 5 with 2 minutes to play, you're like,
well, back it up.
Man, poor Houston. It was a great season, guys.
All right. So Duke currently the favorite in Vegas to win the title at -110. Florida plus 300, Houston plus 425, and Auburn at plus 550. So who are you taking to win, Duke or the field?
I mean, it's Duke. It just is. They seem destined for it with the way they're beating teams. Yeah. Like we talked about, like where these teams have ranked historically. All 4 of them are historically great teams. Duke being the best among them.
Coach K is gone. I know this, but I also know Duke not coming through.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go the field on this.
Okay.
I'm going to go the field. Kelvin Sampson, great coach. If the referees allow them to play physically, they got a chance. And then you got 2 SEC teams, which has been the Goliath Conference of college basketball. And the SEC got Duke's number earlier in the season as well.
Still sounds weird to say that SEC is like a basketball conference. But
the basketball conference.
Money talks.
Yeah. Moving over to the association, the Trailblazers in Chicago tonight, second night of a back-to-back. After last night's win in Toronto with 5 games remaining, Portland 2.5 games back of the play-in and a game and a half ahead of the Spurs for the 8th worst record. Which is more likely, the play-in or the 8th worst record?
8th worst record. The math is substantially more in favor of that. Going into tonight, let me update my little calculator here. I believe they were 1.6% chance. Oh no! Because of a loss, they are at 2.2. They have a 2.2% chance. Skyrocketing their potential outcome. 2.2% chance of making the play-in.
What's their chance of landing Cooper Flagg right now with their current position of 9th in the draft or in the lottery odds, or 10th?
They're currently 9th. Their most likely outcome is 9th in the draft lottery, 43.7%. They have a 9.3% chance as of right now. at the 8th best lottery odds going into the lottery with the 8th best odds. So they have basically a 10% chance.
Okay.
If they lose tonight, and I do believe the Blazers are going to lose tonight. I believe the Bulls are trying to win this game, and I believe the Blazers are kind of trying to win this game.
Right now, for Blazer fans out there, just think of this. You said 2.2% chance of making the lottery?
No, 2.2%.
Or, I mean,
the
play-in?
Yeah.
The chances of the Blazers landing Cooper Flag is 4.5%. So they've double the odds to get Cooper Flag as they do the play-in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with the 8th.
I will say,
I don't know.
last 4 shows on Rip City Wrap Up, we've done Tankathon to close out the show. They have finished 4th, 2nd, 3rd, and 1st.
All right.
So basically, we've used up all their luck.
Okay. Awesome. Thank
Good job.
you.
Thanks, man.
Jerk.
All right, we'll keep it in the NBA. The league has fined Ja Morant $75,000 after his second finger gun incident in a game this week.
This is the dumbest sentence I've ever heard, but very true.
Yeah, it's not inaccurate,
Nope.
unfortunately. He'd already been warned after Tuesday's game against the Warriors, then did it again last night against the Heat. So, just for S's and giggles, let's put the over-under at 1.5 for future gun-related fines and or suspensions for the remainder of Ja's career.
Over.
You got the over?
Over.
Under.
Over. Over.
He blatantly flaunted it
He talked to the commissioner of the league and then was like,
before the game.
you know what?
See, here and I thought that setting it at 0.5 was going to be too little because I was like, I don't know, he's going to have at least
You
one
probably
more.
could have put it at 2.5 and before I even thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd have made me pause at 2.5.
Yeah.
1.5?
No. Smash. Smash.
And you put real and fake guns in there?
Yeah.
Come on. That's the easiest money.
Yeah.
Give me a book I can find that at.
Just, I'm trying to think
Golly.
of. It's like Draymond Green getting another, or Dylan Brooks getting suspended for getting over the technical limit again.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Smash. For those that are wondering, Dylan Brooks had a 16 technical foul and will be suspended for his next game.
Good for him.
Dummy.
The Rashid rule.
Yep. It is. It is. Got anything else?
That be it.
All right. The wonderful,
Dynamite.
amazing edition of Jeff Russ.
Aw.
Every Friday around 2:30ish. All right, coming up next as we wrap up today's show, we will dive into that NCAA tournament we referenced so much. The Final Four is underway in a little bit more than 24 hours. We'll dive into those games next year on Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
It's time for Legends of Hoop, an inside look at the college basketball championships. Brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel, within winning distance.
Well, as we talked about earlier, Cooper Flag has indeed won National Player of the Year. He will also very, very, very likely win the Naismith National Player of the Year, collect all the awards, and if he wins against Houston, will set up the opportunity to do what only one other player in college basketball history has done, and that is Anthony Davis.
He is living up to all of the hype, and that is a really difficult thing to do. It's been beat to death, the fact that he should still be in high school, but I think it makes it that much more impressive. When you have the hype, when you have the billing, and you live up to all of it, and you're doing it a year ahead of schedule, dude, this, whatever it is that people look for, he has it.
Legends of Hoop is brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel. Escape to Legends Casino Hotel within winning distance. Just a short drive to Toppenish, Washington. The ultimate destination for fun and relaxation, legendscasino.com.
Hello, sports fans.
This feels like a bit of a sucker question, but which game are you more interested in? Florida Auburn or Duke Houston?
Duke Houston.
Right.
Duke Houston. We've seen Florida Auburn before this year, obviously, in the SEC. But Duke Houston, just because of can they continue that quest? I mean, Duke has the best record of any of these teams. They've only lost 3 times this season. They have been playing out of this world, absolutely destroying the competition throughout the NCAA tournament. And, you say, oh, wow, whoopsie doozies. They do it against their 1 seed. That's what they're supposed to do. All these other teams are, and they've all been in tight battles. Duke has just mopped the floor with every single team that they've played. They're dropping over 90 points on average in this tournament. It's crazy to see what they are doing in every single round. And what they did to Alabama was bananas. And so, yeah, Duke and Houston is of the most intrigue to me, because also stylistically, the way that Houston plays, it could give Duke some fits. Duke is the number 1 defensive rebounding team, or obviously left of these teams. They're the 3rd best defensive rebounding team of any of the Power 5 conferences, right? Because you had the Big East when we're talking about college hoops too. Houston is an offensive rebounding machine.
Yes.
And the size of Duke is going to give Houston problems with that. But even more, because of Kelvin Sampson's identity that he is ingrained in that Houston team, they create more possessions, not just with offensive rebounds, but turnovers as well. Do you know how many more shots Houston has taken than their opponents this year? This number was jaw-dropping, and I'll give you how many more Duke has than their opponents. Duke on this season has 10 more shot attempts than their opponents this year. And in basketball, right, ball goes back and forth, right? You score, other team gets ball.
I'll say 90.
306.
Holy crap.
Houston has attempted 306 more shots than their opponents on the year. It's not just an offensive rebounding margin advantage that they have. They create turnovers as well. And that number is crazy when you think that they've played 38 games this year. That's almost 10 more attempts per game than their opponents do. And that is going to be the fascinating part for me, is can they create the turnovers against a team that has, albeit 3 freshmen, but poised and complete freshmen that have been playing? Can they continue to create those turnovers and then get those offensive rebounds against the size of Duke?
That's going to be an interesting thing, because beyond those offensive rebounds, Houston's also the number 1 defense in college basketball. But if you're not playing defense as much and you're making the other team play defense and the ability to hit the offensive glass while also limiting points in transition, because this Duke team is not the fastest team in college basketball, but they are devastating.
Yeah.
Devastating in the open floor. Think about their lineup. We talked about it the other day. Tyrese Proctor, Sion James, Cooper Flagg, Konka Nipple, Common Moloch.
Yep.
You have 4 guys that run the floor with plus size. If you get stuck in secondary transition and a small is somehow on Malawach, guess what that turns into? It's a lob at the rim.
Yeah.
And
we've seen that.
Literally last game, I believe he finished 6 of 7, and if I'm not mistaken, they were all lobs. Houston has got toughness, grittiness. They've got decent size. They are not as small as Alabama.
Yeah.
They are not as big as Duke.
No. And turnover margin per game, Houston is plus 176 in turnover margin on the season. That's 4 more turnovers they create than they give up every single game this year.
The other interesting thing is, and you have an eye towards the Dukes of the world here, Houston is one of the worst teams in the country at generating free throws.
Yep.
Duke is not one of the best, but they're in the top quarter.
I'm interested in this game. Stars abound across the board, and that game is really fun for me. Auburn, Florida, I'm excited for that game too, because of the fact that you have Bruce Pearl. I want him to get over the hump. I love his teams and the style that they play. Janai Broom and his health is going to be interesting. But also, it's like their second leading scorer, was it Mazara, Baker Mazara, Chad Baker Mazara? He's been largely absent.
Oh, he's there. There's 2 settings to him. bat as crazy and completely unproductive and really good. There is no in between with him.
And he has not been great in the tournament. If he figures it out and he turns it on,
he can do stuff, man. He's when J.R. Smith has those games where you go, holy crap.
Yep.
He's kind of like that.
Because Pettiford has been playing above what he has all season long. And that has gotten Auburn over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
If Janai Broome is healthy, which is, I don't think he is, if he is healthy, you get Mazara to snap out of whatever funk he's in. And then you get that elevated Pettiford. Watch out, dude, because that Auburn team is really damn good. And Walter Clayton Jr. is just so damn fun to watch. I love watching him. He's played above his season averages across the board.
Yep.
And Todd Golden, Bruce Pearl, two phenomenal coaches.
Yeah, on the Florida side of things, it turns out it's very helpful to have a very experienced player. Duke is so far out of the realm of normalcy in the Final Four with how young they are. If you look at the other three teams, they're all old.
Oh,
they're all old. Man. They're old, they're grown, they're experienced. And
they're all older than the Blazers.
I mean, we talked about this the other day. Auburn's starting lineup is almost the same age as the Oklahoma City Thunder in average age.
Sheesh.
That's nuts.
Sheesh.
But yeah, look, I'm going to watch both games, but I'm going to be locked into Duke Houston.
Hold on. Let's go down that Blazers lineup that they rolled out last night. Of if you were to go down that starting lineup of 2, Denny, Klingon, Sharp, Banton.
So 21, 21, 24, 25, 25. So what? About the same.
Yeah.
Like 23 and a half.
And I think Auburn's 23.2?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Pretty close.
Yikes, dog. And that's fun to see back in college basketball.
It is
guys that are the old heads, All right, that does it for us. We'll be back Monday when I think all hell's going to break loose in college sports.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, that's when the judge is going to make the ruling on the House case, and then we'll have national title that we'll be able to talk about.
Indeed.
The Blazers play tonight against the Chicago Bulls, 5 o'clock.
And then I'll be out most of the week next week.
Yeah, for Nike Hoops Summit.
We're going to see Rop's new Kansas Jayhawk, Darren Pearson.
Oh, all right. Well, coming up next, Isaac Rop will be on the show. He's prime time with Isaac and Suk, and I hope you heard that. Brock Chalk, bitch. Let's go. It's 4 hours of power from their mouths to your ears. Prime time with Isaac and Suk on the Fan.
Bye.
A 6-6.
Right in the butt.
Concrete jungle, wet dream tomato.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance